And one of the things that Ebertfest is known for is our organ. David Schrader, thank you. Thank our organist, David Schrader. Do you know the organ that was built here originally, and I think this is still part of it, in 1921 cost $50,000 way back then. So the organ is definitely one of our traditions. We have a few things that are different here tonight for you. Because of our 20th anniversary, we wanted to bring some of the people who have been so instrumental in helping the festival over the years from the University of Illinois. So before we get into the regular part of our program, I want to introduce you to first, let me just tell you this. So, some of you who have been coming for many years know that we did a survey. And the survey said, what's one of the things that you want to change about the festival? And somebody out there, I'm not going to say who, said, maybe Chaz should remember what she's trying to say. You know what? It ain't gonna happen. Because I get out here and I get so happy and so excited, and my husband said, you're supposed to contribute joy to the world, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just a little joy. Before I bring on the president, I want to tell you this. Thank you so much for letting us continue Roger's legacy with this film festival. This film festival is so important to him because he thought that films could be a civilizing effect on society, but he really loved the communal aspect. Today, people are watching films on little devices, isolated, at home, all kinds of things. And Roger really thought it was great when we come together as a community. I really think that's one way to begin healing the world. Thank you for continuing to come to the film festival. Nate says he's not going to say anything yet, but he will.
Well, I'll say one thing. I just want to thank Chaz for continuing this and for being a part of it, an instrumental part of it from the very beginning. She's truly the co-founder of this festival, and we're so happy she's still here making it happen. Thank you, Chaz.
Thank you. So the University of Illinois was so important to Roger. At one point, Roger said he told his father he wanted to go to Harvard. And Roger said, boy, we don't have that kind of money, but you are lucky that you were born in Urbana because we have one of the finest universities in this country. And Roger came to love the University of Illinois. And when they asked, Dean Kim Rotzel asked him to start a film festival a long time ago after Ebertfest. The film festival was supposed to last for only 1 year. But after Roger, he had so much fun, it became a tradition. I'd like to introduce the president of the University of Illinois, Dr. Timothy Killeen.
Well, good evening, everybody. In my best Scottish brogue, I'm Killeen, Tim Killeen. Okay, no secret agent number, but I just want to make sure nobody confuses me with Kid Shilleen from Cat Ballou. So on Roger's University of Illinois family across the state and beyond, and my wife, Roberta, who's out there, we're delighted to welcome you to this milestone 20th edition of Ebertfest. And this looks like a group that can handle the truth. So I wanted to share a quick story of my own movie-going experience, if that's okay. When I first went to London as a 17-year-old student in the early 70s, I heard about the night owl showings of continental films at the National Film Theatre on the city's South Bank. And the term continental film still sends a shiver up my back. They were jam-packed with appeal for young teenagers adapting to campus life like me, and they were edgy and avant-garde, from Fellini classics to subtitled foreign language films that really did broaden your cultural horizons. Better yet, they were free of charge. So I routinely made the trip across town and routinely had to drag myself back to classes the next morning after a 3.5-mile walk back to campus at 3 a.m. after the night buses ended. But the experience taught me some valuable lessons. When I finally managed to slump in bed in the middle of the night, it taught me there's no place like home. And it taught me that there's plenty of fun to be had even when you can't show me the money. But most importantly, it taught me what an art form film really is, and its power to not just entertain, but to educate and to foster awareness and understanding. And no one knew this better than Roger Ebert. And I'm forever grateful that his love of film was matched by his affection for his hometown and us, his alma mater. It gave us this remarkable festival, which has been proving for 2 decades that if you build it, they will come. Every year, it shines a national spotlight on our university, the community, and the films that he loved, and gives us a chance to honor him again for the pride that his Pulitzer Prize-winning career brought for all of us. So here's looking at you, Chaz. And we're all deeply grateful for you for continuing to lead Roger's namesake festival by sharing your time, your talents, your memories, your humor, and just your presence. And I also want to thank the other usual suspects, Interim Dean Wojciech Chodko-Zajko and his team at the College of Media, Festival Director Nate Cohn, and all the sponsors and contributors who helped make this wonderful event possible. And my thanks again to all of you for joining us here at another of the places that Roger loved most, a place where TV viewers across America once tuned in every week to find him at the movies. May the force, that is the force of filmmaking's power and Roger's legacy, be with us all. And now I'm going to get back to my day job.
And now we are going to welcome the Dean of the College of Communications, the Dean of the College of Media. It was once, when Roger was in school, it was called the College of Communications, but it's College of Media, who's worked so hard with us for this festival, Dean Wojciech Chodko-Zajko.
Thank you, Chaz. What a joy and a pleasure to be able to welcome you, whether you have come here from across town or across the world, to the 20th Anniversary Film Festival on behalf of the college. Now, I'm sure that there's nobody in this room who doesn't think of Roger as one of the world's most famous film critics. However, he was so much more than that. He wasn't just a movie critic. He was an extraordinary journalist and writer. He was a social commentator. He was a sports journalist. But most of all, he was someone who represented the conscience of our country. And the university is proud to have Roger as perhaps one of our most famous alumni. And in recent years, Chaz has worked with us to make sure that we can maintain the legacy of Roger Ebert and his relationship to the University of Illinois in so many ways. I'm pleased to be able to announce that on October the 1st, 2018, mark your calendars, we will have the first Ebert Symposium on our campus. The Ebert Symposium will be a day-long event when we invite scholars, the general public, and our students to participate in a celebration of movies and film. And the first one will be entitled Empathy for the Universe, and it will be a collaboration between NCSA and the College of Media, organized by Donna Cox, Brand Fortner, and a number of other faculty members at the university. Please mark your calendars and come to that event. We also are at the University of Illinois designing a new welcome center for all alums and all potential students and their families. Will begin their tour at the Alice Campbell Welcome Center in Alice Campbell Hall. And I'm very pleased to announce, with the help of Chaz, we will have a permanent Roger Ebert exhibit at the Welcome Center. So when anybody comes to the university, they'll have an opportunity to think about all the different things that Roger did in order to advance not just the movies, but everything that is important to us. Earlier this year, the Chicago Sun-Times donated to the university hundreds of boxes of movie, film publicity packages, including Roger Ebert's reviews of each of those films. That could never have happened were it not for Chaz intervening and making sure that these materials were donated to the archives of the university. I'm pleased to say that we will continue to work with Chaz to increase the materials from Roger Ebert's writings and Roger's collections so that they are not only in the archives, but in the Welcome Center and shared with audiences all over the world. Chaz also supports our students. We have Ebert Fellows. Our undergraduate students go to Chicago to work with Mike Phillips, the movie critic of the Chicago Tribune. And so I just wanted to say to you, certainly this festival is an extraordinary tribute and legacy of Roger Ebert. But the work of Ebert is being continued by Chaz Ebert, who is also a great friend of our university. We look forward to working with Chaz for many years to come. Have a great night at the movies. Thank you.
And we have one other speaker for you. First of all, I want to recognize in the audience Dr. Roberta Johnson-Colleen, who's here. And also Dr. Jan Slater. We have one other treat for you, the head of the Illinois Film Office, Christine Dudley.
Good evening, everyone. Never thought a girl from Indiana who went to that other university across the way would ever be able to stand here in hallowed halls of the other university that we used to refer to. But it is, to be at this iconic film festival is such a treat and a delight. In fact, but it is very nerve-wracking, and I was a little anxious after accepting Chaz's gracious invitation. I thought perhaps it would just be better if I'd reprise Tilda Swinton's Dance Party. But then I looked in the mirror and I realized I didn't have the hair for it. So it's fitting, I think, that this is 20th anniversary coincides with Illinois' bicentennial, a year in which we celebrate, reflect on the events, contributions, institutions, and people who have shaped the land of Lincoln. This festival is dedicated not only to Roger, a Champaign native, but also Champaign native Mary Frances Fagan, who is a dear friend of Chaz and mine. And we are celebrating them for all they contributed to the public policy dialogue, the creative arts, and the dignity they each demonstrated as they prepared to leave us. So, film in Illinois, what does that mean to everybody? Well, tonight we're going to see an example of it. And it is fitting because I believe in public service, one of our greatest attributes is that we connect to the connectors. And no one connects people more than Chaz Ebert. She is the ultimate connector of connectors. She was one of the first people to visit me when I began my journey in this office. I was overwhelmed. She came to see me. I admired her for many years for her work and obviously read and watched Roger. I didn't have the pleasure of knowing him, unfortunately, but Chaz is an unwavering supporter of film in Illinois. And what does that exactly mean? Well, we're a production center. The state of Illinois is thriving in film and television production. 2016, $500 million was spent in production spending in the state. We are also employing over 13,000 job hires in direct spending. That's real economic development, and that's opportunity, especially here at a university where people are looking for opportunity, and especially in a community where we're looking to grow sectors. Film is a growing sector. And in fact, not only tonight will we see a movie made by a graduate of the University of Illinois, but great movies are being made again in Illinois. And last week, Steve McQueen, the Oscar-winning 12 Years a Slave director, I say that all in one sentence now, was back in Chicago to do some additional photography for a movie that he made or filmed last summer with Viola Davis called Widows. And we're anxiously awaiting that premiere in the fall, so I encourage all of you to pay attention, all you movie lovers, because that's going to be another great one that was filmed in Illinois. So, Illinois film is thriving. It's a growing sector. It's employing people. But one most important thing, and I had nothing to do with this, but I'm very proud of it, and we promote it, and we believe strongly in it. The Illinois Film Office manages the film tax incentive. It's a very big part of the business of making films. But one of the pieces that we have that no other state has, besides all of our great assets, is we require a diversity plan is submitted with the application. And that means inclusion for minorities and women. That means jobs, that means opportunity, and that, again, the most important thing, means inclusion and growth in underserved communities. So, in the spirit of another great Illinoisan who doesn't live here anymore but put us on the map, I'm going to pass out a few hats, film in Illinois. So, just like Oprah would say, you get a hat, you get a hat, the president gets a hat, the dean gets a hat, and most importantly, I'd love Andy Davis to have one because he is the representation of film in Illinois while we see this wonderful film, which I watched the other night when it was on cable, so I can't wait to see it on the big screen again. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great festival, and thank you, Chaz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. I think you know that this week we have 12 films. 6 of the 12 films were directed by women. And I'm not going to read all of them to you tonight, but what I do encourage you to do is get a copy of the program. The Daily Illini prints, they do a beautiful job with our program, putting it together, and I hope that you get it and read it and take it home. But one of the other things that I want to do is just mention a few of the people who will be here with us. I'll skip over our director for tonight because we're going to do that later. We're going to have Gregory Nava with Selena. We have, and if you're here, stand. Gregory Nava, are you here? Okay. I think we showed El Norte here. Yes. Ama Asante, are you here, Ama? She has a movie, Belle, that you'll be seeing tomorrow, I think. Yes. We have Ruth Ann Harnish and Bill Harnish with the movie Columbus, and Danielle Renfrew is also, here they are, yes. We have Julie Dash with that beautiful Daughters of the Dust. Are you here, Julie? Yeah. And some of you know that Julie Dash was one of the first women directors who paved the way for other women directors 25 years ago. I don't know why I laugh every time I say his name. I can't help it. We have the dude, Jeff Dowd, here with the Big Lebowski. And so many others. One of the things that I want you to do this weekend, in honor of our 20th anniversary, Roger was a film critic for 46 years. And so film critics, film scholars, film historians mean a lot to me. And so we brought a whole bunch of them here this weekend, and I hope that you get a chance to talk to them in between. I'm just going to say the names. You could just stand up. Sarah Adamson, Nick Allen, Monica Castillo, Michael Phillips, Sam Fergozo, Scott Mance, Nell Minow, Sheila O'Malley, Peter Subsinski, Rebecca Theodore Vachon, Susan Wasina, and we also have Dr. Eric Pearson, film scholar. Oh, Matt Fagerholm, Brian Tellerico, and Matt Zoller-Seiss. And now, that concludes that part of our program. Oh, wow. Oh, thank you. I am so excited to bring out this director. He made a movie that every time I see the train wreck scene, my heart stops beating. He is so wonderful. Andrew Davis started out his work in motion pictures as an assistant cameraman to renowned cinematographer and director Haskell Wexler, who had been here many times, on Medium Cool. He made his directorial debut in 1978 with the critically acclaimed independent musical Stony Island. I hope he brings that one to Ebertfest sometimes, which he also co-wrote and produced. It's in 1993 that Davis directed the Academy Award-nominated box office hit The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones, which earned Jones a Best Supporting Actor award and 7 Academy Award nominations. Presently, Davis is developing several projects through a Santa Barbara-based production company, Chicago Pacific Entertainment, including book adaptations and documentaries. Will you please help me welcome Andy Davis?
Local boy does okay. 50 years ago, I graduated from this university. And I remember Roger standing in front of the Auditorium Theater on a Sunday night after we watched Buñuel and Fellini. And he would stand out there with all the graduate students and pontificate about what the movies were about. 10 years later, he reviewed one of his first reviews, Stony Island, for the Sun-Times. 15 years later, he reviewed The Fugitive. And I was blessed to speak at his memorial. And I feel so blessed to be here tonight. So we'll talk afterwards. Enjoy the movie.
You know, I forgot there is one other part of the program. We lost actually 4 people since I've seen you last who meant so much to this film festival. Mary Frances Fagan with American Airlines was one of the first people who started bringing stars from all over the world to this festival. And that's one of the reasons we got on the map, because of the people she brought in from everywhere. She passed away in February of this year and had her service just this last weekend at the Museum of Broadcast Communications from the stage of Saturday Night Live. You may remember Leonard Doyle and Sherry Slade, 2 of our volunteers for years here. They were pillars of the community. I have to tell you, I am overcome with emotion. I don't even know how I'm going to sit back there without Sherry. In their honor, we're going to be giving out prizes, sort of things every day, not tonight, but starting tomorrow. And then just this past Friday, we lost an alum from the University of Illinois who just 2 years ago was on this stage quoting The Great Gatsby, the sports writer Bill Knack. Bill Knack was one of Roger's oldest friends. They met at the Daily Illini when Bill was the sports editor and Roger was the editor of the Daily Illini. And they were lifelong friends. Bill was one of the finest writers. Some of you may have read his book about Secretariat, and they made a movie based on his book and other things. At some point, we're going to have a clip of Bill quoting The Great Gatsby. He loved doing it. He did it at our wedding, and I watched him do it with his bride at his wedding, and I miss him. And so, in the honor of those 4, let's just give a thumbs up and a clap. Thank you. Sorry. I am so sorry. I should have it all written out by now. We cannot turn down the light until you get introduced to our newest coordinator. For 14 years, we had Mary Susan Britt, then we had Casey Ludwig, and this year, we were so fortunate to have Andrew Michael Hall. Andy, will you come out, please? Say hello.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. All right, I'm not coming out anymore.